Again, hello everyone. I mean, if by any chance, if I just keep, I mean, if I have problem, okay, with internet, just please continue and I'll join. I mean, if it get disconnected, because last 10 minutes it happened once only. So we can start actually the presentation. The first one is
I am the one that is
Pedro.
present,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, sure. You can go ahead. You can share your screen.
Okay, like Maddie say, I am in Starbucks, so maybe have some internet problems. You can follow without me.
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes.
It's just not in presentation mode.
Okay, yeah, just give me a second. Okay, now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, this time, I presented the Maddie 3 document. He's the one that is not like that technical. This is more like in a management side. So I'm going to present cloud computing, improving the small businesses performance using the internet. So this is, like I said, this is not a technical paper. This is more like how small businesses can take advantage of the cloud computing, so they can improve their business, and they can improve their full processes in the industry. So the first thing is this. Like that is part of the document is explaining what is like cloud computing and characteristics and the different services that are offered by cloud computing. I'm not going to talk about that because, well, most of the semester we have that part. So I'm going to go straight to say about how the cloud computing can improve the business. Also, I wanted to warn you that this document is a little bit old. It's 2017. So a lot of some of the things that I'm going to say are not like, maybe they are not like true at this moment, or they have changed a little bit in they presented that information. So in this case, for example, cloud computing, well, cloud computing, they say that this is like this umbrella that is called software. As you can see, cloud computing can be in tablet, smartphone, laptop, desktop, and also cloud computing can be found in services like email, documents, video, blogs, calendars, pictures, sheets, and a lot of things. So also they say that we have several clouds. We have the hybrid cloud, community cloud, public cloud, and private cloud. Public cloud, well, is the cloud that can be accessed for everyone. This is the famous one, like we have in this case, Google Cloud, Azure, and powerful OCI. Okay. Well, the difference is public cloud can be accessed by anyone. Private cloud is a cloud that more specific to an organization. That's a private organization. So this in the organization is exclusively for that organization. Then we have hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud is a cloud that can cloud that is a mix of the private and the public cloud. So some data that is not this critical data can be and data that is really critical for the business can be processed in the cloud. And then we have the community cloud, that is the like this small cloud specific for some organizations, or some organizations or members that need to have like this specific environment for doing things. Okay, here in this part, I'm going to little bit because there are a lot of numbers, but basically this is in 2017. This was how the different clouds were used. The public cloud, as you can see, was used 89%, and the increment each year by year is not like sorry. It's not like a big amount of increment. And then we have the private cloud. As we can see in the private cloud, there are like increments in 2016, and there went a decrement in that. And we have the hybrid clouds. They were like having some variety. And we have the any cloud. Any cloud is like in the. By the way, this was got from for Gartner. So any cloud is in the survey that they did. They asked if you are planning to implement any cloud, which is the cloud that are your plan. And they sent several clouds, but they didn't count this because they are not really implemented. Just like they are like more like planning to implement any cloud, whatever cloud, but that's the option. A lot of people were planning to in that time implementing any into their companies. So the information that I wanted to give about that was that, for example, according to the worldwide public cloud services market was projected to 17% in 2018. So they were going to 287 billions. They were going to almost 41 billions compared to 2017. They were expecting the EIS, was the project that was going to grow more, 32%, comparing to 2018 with 2017. And also SaaS was expected to grow just 19% for reaching 55 billions, I mean. But as you can see in the next graph, this is the 2022. I mean, this is 2022. Again, it's from Gartner. So these were the real numbers. As we can see, we're expecting IIS to be the service that we're going to grow more than anyone. But as we can see here, it was SaaS. SaaS is expecting to grow more than anyone in the future compared with the other services. So in 2017, the market was, let me read again, 2087 billions. In years, this is the double. We are more than double. Just for enough for getting more than 100% improvement of earnings for cloud computing in the public worldwide, in the worldwide public services. So this is the 2022. It's still not finished, so this number can change. But the expectations are big for the industry. And then now, when going to small businesses and we want to show the good things about the paper is putting these like points that are like the advantages of working with coding. It's obviously cheaper. It's cheaper and easier to call business. We already know why. The cost, lower cost. Well, this can depending on what are the necessities of the company. But in general, it's cheaper to use cloud computing than buying all the stuff for implementing a process. I'm not going to read everyone all because of the time, but well, we have also enhanced customer acquisition and support. Always, well, a very important thing is can help the small businesses to shorten the delivery time, and operation can be in early because we don't need to have all the infrastructure for. We just need to just an account for and a guy that knows how to do it. Well, those are the general advantages of cloud computing for small business. And disadvantage because, well, it's not all, there is not just advantage, there are also disadvantages for small businesses. And we have the technology, transparency, performance inconsistencies, and lock-in. I want to know what they were trying to say with lock-in, but reference that they put in there, it's not working anymore. So it was at the right scale page, but it's not working anymore. I think the company, so I didn't find anything related to this. Well, in the technology part, we have the level and scalability, reliability, and security, because we are, I think right now security is better than 5 years ago, but they were saying that this was one of the disadvantages of working with cloud computing. Same with security gaps and errors. There is a lot of human errors, and it's expecting that when you don't have the experience for working on cloud computing, there will be a lot of human errors. So this is some kind of like expected for vulnerability and platform inconsistency. But also there are obstacles to rapid adoption in small businesses. For example, most of the time, small companies, they don't have like a big number of staff. Like just one guy that is the guy that is doing everything in the company. They are like setting computers, setting the network, installing programs, and also helping with everything that is to the computers or other persons. So one of the things is the obstacles is that we don't have enough people, and also we don't have people that know how to do the thing. So working with cloud, like we can see, and it's to have a guy how to work with the cloud. Also, lack of time to implement new initiative. In the same way, because the company doesn't have enough people, they don't they don't have much of the time. They don't have time for doing like new initiatives, like for example, changing from machines to the cloud, because the guy that is doing everything besides the work, then he work on planning and doing the migration to the cloud. So that's another obstacle. Obviously, managing costs, everything costs. So sometimes management can say that they don't have the time, they don't have the money, they don't have the budget, or sometimes an inexperienced guy can make the company works spend more money. They don't set like in the good way a cloud. So managing is another of the obstacles to rapid adoption in small businesses. And security concerns. Concerns is always one of the things that people that is not involved in computing is always going to have concerns about, because they say, well, my information is not with me, so I don't know if it's secure. I don't know if anyone can access my data that is important for me, and a lot of those stuff can cause security concerns, and it can be an obstacle for moving from local machines to cloud computing. And this is the conceptual model for implementation. So if you want to move from local machines to the cloud, this is the phases that you need to follow. First thing is learn about cloud computing. In this part, we need to identify which services can be used by our company. I mean, cloud computing can offer a ton of services, but you can be overwhelmed for all the services that can be it can be offered by the provider. So in this case, we need to be very sure which services are the ones that we really need, and the ones that can make our business to grow. And then the second phase is we need to internal IT processes. We can, for example, check which processes are going to be affected by the services that we have selected, and how we can manage all these changes. Some processes are going to disappear. Maybe other processes can be automated. So this is the second part. And in the third phase, we need to analyze the workloads and applications that are going to be in the cloud. So in this, we need to actually map our processes with the services that we have. So in the workload, so which data is going to be in the cloud, data is not. And also we need to set the profiles so people can access which data and which people can manage or process some data in the cloud. So this is the three phases that we need to follow. But also just to consider when we are moving to the cloud, consultation. This is one of the most important factors. In small companies, most of the time is just one person, the person that takes all the decisions. So basically, if you want to implement this, we need to make sure we're going to get the approval from that person. So that's a really important factor. If we don't make this person to take the decision, then we are not going to have the permission for implementing. So this is a key factor. Another key factor is the business process planning. This is very important because maybe this is more important for small companies than the big companies, because most of small companies don't have documentation. So documentation where we need to follow which process are dependent on the other process. Documentation don't exist. So this is another factor when you want to consider migrating to the cloud. And obviously the cost. Always in the business, and most important in a small business, money, cost, and spending, it's a big issue, because in most of the companies, well, money is not like something that a resource that is well, like in big companies, some organizations doesn't work money because they don't really care about the money, because there are money. But in small companies, it's very important. And once that you have implemented your cloud, this is the things that are that tend to measure. So you can say that you're really taking of the cloud. So for deployment reliability, you need to check the percentage of monitored applications and the percentage of apps that met the service level agreement. Also for accelerated agility, the average time of deploy of applications, or the average delivery time of new products and services. And also increasing compliance and percentage of non-encrypted traffic in the percentage of managed nodes. Okay, like small companies, well, they don't have like these big processes, so most of the time they are focused in three common uses for the cloud computing: data storage, shared applications, and remote use collaboration. Okay, in data storage, well, sometimes they want to store data, and that data, in that way they are pretty sure that the data is secure, or that they can access the data from anywhere they are. In the same way, share applications, so they don't need to buy licenses for a specific application, so they can share the applications. The remote user collaboration. So most of the time, if they have like an office on Guadalajara and another office in Mexico City, well, they are pretty sure and collaborate using the cloud computing. And then we have these small business checks in the cloud. Well, like I said, a little bit old information. So as you can the authors of the paper say that there are they consider that there are three generations of cloud. Generation 1, efficiency and gains, is like the that is more focused on what they can do. What are the benefits of using the cloud? That's generation 1. And at the moment, at 2017, they say right now cloud is in generation 1 and then to generation 2, where they need to do to show like new forms of structures and way of business. But I think because of this COVID pandemic, this is not anymore. I think right now cloud has found that they can transform it and impact the business and society. So right now cloud is not in generation 1, but right now they are in generation, or I can even say that it's in generation 3, moving to generation 3. So I think this information is valid anymore. So yeah, in just 2 years, cloud, like we said, we saw in the Gartner chart, the impact of cloud computing has been, and one of the things that made this team big was a pandemic. Well, I'm not going to read it. I'm going to like this. These are the tools and services that are better in cloud computing. Like we can see the voice over IP. They have this service provider Citrix, Grasshopper. For Teamwork, we have Asana. Chatbot, a lot of us have used Slack, Skype video conferencing, or even Zoom, like right now we are doing. So these are the most common applications or services that are used for some solutions, like we have here. And then at the end of the paper, we have a success. They have this company that is called Interactive Educational Services. This company said that once they implemented the cloud computing technologies, the time for design and develop custom web has decreased by 30%. Most of the AT services have decreased by 40%. Activity say that there has been a rise to 35%. But this measure for a few number of employees. Not all the employees participate in this. Also, those are the communications and collaborations that they are using. They use voice over IP. For video conference and meeting, they are using Zoom, I think. And they have all the other things, processes that they have solved with cloud computing, like email marketing. In this case, in email marketing, I don't remember the tool that they are using, but they say that they have like a better communication in sending offers to the clients and getting some information or feedback from the clients via email. In the same way, security and network monitoring, they are using for network monitoring, for antivirus, and server backup. Oh, this is another important thing that I didn't say in the advantage, but one of the things that is very important about the advantage of the computing is disaster recovery. Disaster recovery, as you can see, in a local company, if one server is screwed or if a flooding or something like a big disaster happens, most of the time all the information is lost. And this thing, well, cloud computing can make you in less than a day, you will have everything ready, or even sometimes well, if you have the right process, in just minutes you can have all the information on all the data that you need. Also, for the mobile communication and social media marketing, that's the things that they are using. They are using the cloud for, like, for example, for social media marketing, they were using Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. All the companies well, help to improve and reach more people than normal marketing, like, okay. And that's all, actually. Do you have any questions?
I have one quick question.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, for example, imagine you have a small or medium-sized business of your own.
Yeah.
So for all these tools and advantages that you mentioned, how many of them or how much would you consider to apply to your business, given the disadvantage mentioned?
Okay, like I say here, we have, I don't say it's faster or pace, but wait. Like I say, the first thing that you need to do is you need to see what the provider is offering it to you, because they have a lot of services, but not all of them are going to be good for you. Some of them are going to be good. Some other, for example, if they are offering some machine learning services and you are not into machine learning, or you are not doing and improving and predicting something, well, those services are not good for you. And after that, you need to see your process, and you need to see from the services that are available, which processes from your business can be mapped to those services. So I cannot tell you you need to have this one, and this one, because this process is different for each company. But yeah, the first thing is that you need to analyze your pipeline, your flow, and you need to match this with what the provider can offer you.
Got it.
Everyone else?
Thank you, Pedro, for the presentation.
You're welcome.
So I think Jose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the first question is more or less like the same that has already been given. Like, I thought, what metrics could a small business use to measure like the return on investment, the ROI, regarding the money they spend in cloud? Like in the paper, they mentioned like value engineering, but I don't know what's that metric actually. But let's say you have like this small business, how would you get convinced to move some of your stuff into the cloud?
Can you repeat again the question, please?
Yeah, like let's say you're a small business, right?
Yeah.
How would you convince this small business to move some of their stuff?
I don't know if I am
cloud.
the one.
Like how could you measure like the improvement? Can you hear me? Good?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Well, the first thing is that it depends. Like I say, it depends on the company and what they want to achieve moving to the cloud, right? For example, if the objective of the company is to have like they don't want to buy a lot of stuff, and they want to start like for example, if they don't want they want to have like home office for all the company, and they want to really they don't want to spend a lot of money on hardware or that stuff. Well, they can move to the cloud. Then we have all the things, all the services for doing the home office, and I think the reports that they need to follow are the cost and the use of the applications. Like in this case, the percentage of monitor applications, and also the percentages of app that met the service level agreement. If they can compare that with the cost and because they always have like okay, if we are using the cloud for 1 year, this is the cost. This is the cost that we are expecting to have. If we are going to buy the things, this is the cost that we are going to need to need to a key for 1 year. So comparing that information is the way that they can see if they are really, if that was a good investment or it is not.
Basically, I guess what Patrick is saying is that one attractive point to move a small business from equipment to the cloud is move from capex to opex in financial terms. I guess that's the way you have to speak with the financial person in the small business. And from the technical point of view, from the technical point of view, the attractive is to have less to spend less time in the IT resources administration. So with the cloud, you can move people from be administrating the resources from that administrative area to more, I guess, from an area that has to be with the business. I don't know, sales or whatever. I guess those are the points or two critical points in order to move a small business to the cloud.
Yeah, they are important, but you remember one thing. Most of the time, small businesses, the owner is doing all those decisions.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So
okay.
if you say, I am an IT guy, and if I go and say, oh, this is going to give me more free time, or I can focus on that, the guy is going to say, no, that's not the thing that I want to hear. The thing that I want to hear is how much I'm going to save on, or how this is going to improve. So most of the time, people that don't know about technology, we need to speak in the language in the language that they want to talk. In this case, for an owner, everything is money, money that we are going to spend, or money that we are going to earn.
Right, I agree with you. You need to the one who is selling the cloud platform should have to move the speech in order to the person who is he talking in front of him. I mean, if he's a financial guy, you should have to speak in that language. If he's an IT guy, you need to speak in the IT language in order to move them from the hardware to the cloud.
Yeah.
Okay, should we move to the second question?
Yep, sure.
We now know that Docker is a billing company, right? Like, if you have more than X developers using their service, they will start charging you. Which other services do you think will start doing this kind of business? And do you think it will become the new norm, or that they will die trying to get profit from their software?
What do I think? Well, for being honest, I don't have a clue about that. I don't know if this is going to be the norm. There is always like big things about doing some stuff like that. But I think time is the only one that can say if something is good or is going to be good or is not going to be good.
I think one similar thing happened with a migration tool for databases that was Flyway, and there was like a huge movement because of that. and then tons of open source alternatives are starting to appear. So whenever you start building for something, there is always like a good opportunity to bring the open source in, right? So it's a risk. You either go on and you are 100% sure that you are the only one that know how to replicate that, or you just drag most of your people, or maybe, or I mean, you let the people that you have already in your product go into open source alternatives, and then those become stronger. So
as Pedro mentioned, it's really hard to answer this question because, I mean, hard to say what's going to be the norm in the future. I mean, you can
Yeah,
see
but-
the trend, but I mean, how can you judge?
Yeah, for now it seems like it's not like a good deal, because a lot of the more famous people is live in Twitter, right? And most of the people is there because they want to follow that people. They want to know how their favorite singer or their favorite politician is doing. So, but
I wanted to know, what would you think? Like, would you start paying, or would you go into the open source or the other?
I don't even
Alternatives.
pay for getting the information from this paper. I was looking for a free paper. Do you think that I'm going to pay for Twitter?
I mean, I've been in a couple of small and very small businesses. I was going to say medium, but not really. So, and whenever we were like close in some services to starting to pay, we started looking for some alternatives that were open source. So, yeah, and those were the kinds of corners that we were always cutting. So yeah, I mean, at least for the small ones, not really. I don't know for big enterprises.
Yeah, imagine like right now the Netflix went to. I mean, I'm paying Netflix right now, but if they really start to charging, and I'm paying Netflix most of my family because I don't have time for watching shows on Netflix. But I pay because of my nieces and my nephews. They are like watching shows all the time. They have all the time for watching shows. So I am paying Netflix for that. But if they start like charging for house instead of for account, I'm going to cancel, and I'm going to start consuming piracy.
YouTube.
Once you get used to free things, it's hard, right?
Yeah.
And for the last, this paper talks about how a company does employee time tracking. Are you in favor of measuring it? If so, why? If not, what would you measure instead?
Actually, I have some friends in Germany. That happens a lot. They track you the time a lot. I have a lot of German friends that have in the United States, and they are tracking their times. And it's nasty because one person, for example, the other day started talking to me 10 minutes, and the manager wrote by chat that what was happening because it was 10 minutes outside from the computer. And I was like, what? Like, because the computer, they cannot change the settings. Like for software developers, probably not, doesn't happen, right? But after 1 minute, it gets blocked, by policy, and they cannot change those settings. But I'm super against that, right? Because that's privacy.
Micromanagement is never a good thing, never.
I think this is really interesting. I remember once having a boss that was a boss in two places, but we didn't know about the first place. So when we talked him about please stop working in the other place, he said that our company was only measuring his time and not trusting the results he was delivering. So, I mean, those are like the kind of edges of this is really pushing me to the edge, right? Into like, okay, just let me deliver my results, but let me have as many jobs as I want. So
and that is the reason because of this.
yeah.
It was measured just by a few number of employees because no one wants to be under they're looking at someone or something all the time, right?
Yeah.
And all the and we can see it in this industry. Not all the people works in the same way. A lot of people need to a lot of people can work like from 7 to 8 to 5 without no problem, but other people need to have like these breaks between some time so they can improve their work. So yeah, that's what I think.
So you will measure results instead of time?
Yeah, definitely. Always is better for me. In my case, it's always better to measure the results of the people, even if they can keep something in that is expected for 1 week in 2 weeks, and they can do whatever all the time, whatever other things in the 3 days is problem of them. I mean, maybe it's bad planning for management, but that's another stuff.
Awesome. That's all from my side.
Okay, thank you, Jose. And thank you, Pedro. I don't know if there is any question by anyone else, or shall we move to the next presentation? Questions? Okay, thank you, Pedro, for presenting. We
Yeah,
can
welcome.
move to the next one. It's by Paul, talking about two blockchain or not two blockchain.
Yeah,
His favorite topic.
yeah, to provide a little bit different information than
Yeah, our blockchain guy.
the Kubernetes. Okay. Let me share this thing.
Blockchain
is the future. Oh,
Actually, my first choice for the paper was something with blockchain. And Mari didn't want to choose that one.
No, but like in the last like 5 or 4 years ago, they start talking so much on blockchain, and in some startup weekend events, everybody wanted to create startup like blockchain apps and things like that, and it has been a really tiring topic to listen. I'm sorry.
Until today, when Paul is about to drag you back into blockchain.
yeah.
I just realized that we need to finish all activities for next week, Sunday. So
Go ahead. Go ahead, Paul. You can start.
yeah. How to?
Yep. There.
Okay. Yeah. I choose a small paper, a quick one. Can you see my screen right? The blockchain. That's blockchain. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
This is going to be quick. Not consume everyone's time. Here's like to be or not to be to blockchain or not to blockchain. That's the question. The contents of this template, of this presentation is that as a very simple definition, blockchain is a technology that is sometimes represented as a long DNA chain that you have multiple like small blocks that are, but the difference is that the blockchain periodically is increasing its size with information related to new transactions that are added. The transactions are grouped in blocks, and that's where blockchain name comes from, and they are sorted in a sequential way, one following the other one without losing their alignment. The chain is maintained by a network of nodes which verify the validity of transactions and add them to the new blocks in a process called mining. if you remember, I already presented about mining, but this is more like explaining a little bit of the technology itself. Well, this is a image where that explains the process of how a transaction in a block is created. Let's say that Alice wants to transfer the money to John. For this to happen is first, Alice has an address where she has their cryptocurrency. Let's say, I don't know, Bitcoin, Ethereum, you name it, whatever cryptocurrency is, and she broadcasts the transaction message to the network. The transaction, the network verifies that the address information in Alice's ledger, and verify if she has the funds to send X amount of cryptocurrency. And because every node has a copy, an exact copy of the ledger of Alice to validate this information. And the ledger, which is a alphanumeric chain of characters, contains information, secret information from the network itself, to verify that there is not any malignant intent to hack something, at least in the ideal way. After the verification, the transaction is added to a block, which it has the header, the previous block information, the header hash, the transaction hash, the hash, transactions, yeah, the information about the previous blocks that are created. Once all of this transaction is settled and verified, it starts like a race, and it is where the mining process begins. Every node of the network, as I said, has an exact copy of the ledger, and all the blocks that are already being are added into this ledger, and they start to like solving a complex mathematical problem as a verifying step. And once a node found an answer, or a correct, I don't know, a correct answer, that the node communicates with all the other nodes in the network, and if they agree that that is the correct answer to the mathematical problem, they verify it, and they agree that to add a new block, which has already created, to the blockchain, and every node saves this new copy with the new block created of the transaction. And usually the node that won the computing, the calculation, is rewarded with cryptocurrency. It could be a fraction of I don't know, a fraction of a Bitcoin, or 60 Bitcoins, let's say. I don't know. It is not it is random. So this is the how mining is shown in this process. And once they have everything validated and the new copy has created, John receives the money. How this is a very secure method for transactions, at least in the paper. The blockchain evolution and the potential applications. There are already identified 3 versions of blockchain. The first one is 1.0. This technology was created originally for Bitcoin, to move Bitcoins to record the transactions and maintain the network secure. But as this technology could be used for other areas, then they jumped to blockchain 2.0, which is the main like advantage or purpose of this version is well they are about registering, confirming, and transferring contracts or properties. We have smart contracts here that are the most relevant thing in this step. I'm gonna talk about more about smart contracts and how they work in the next slides. So for 3.0, they are no longer restricted to finance and goods transactions, but embraces sectors like government, health, science, education, and more. And one example is for government use, blockchain can be used to record election votes because it has an immutable and publicly verifiable way, and also is transparent. In an ideal world, blockchain can be used to to integrate in the votation process of I don't know if, the country or local elections to have a clean and transparent process. But we know this won't happen in the real world. And there are other applications, blockchain based, for personal data management. This application can, in this area, use a blockchain wallet to recognize users' identity. Let's say we can have a unique ID, and you can carry with this unique ID one plastic, or I don't know, one chip, let's say, or an app. Why to be physical? And instead of having the driver's license or birth certificate or here in Mexico the voting card, so you can have one way to identify yourself. This would be great. For intellectual property, to prove the existence of authorship or intellectual property, like I don't know, songs or any art created and allow users to pay in cryptocurrencies. You can already pay in cryptocurrencies in some places or some service. For software in the internet, blockchain could be used to record system logs, make it impossible to attackers to delete them or alter events histories. For example, for commerce and supply chain, there are a lot of also implementations. One of them for example, in the luxury market goods, the blockchain has been used as a worldwide verify that your diamond is legit and you're not having anything wrong. And for services, pay services, you can be in a country that like the Uber-like platform. You can pay this mobility service, so you can use don't need to use the local currency. The advantages are implements a shared repository that is maintained by peers. So you need to an intermediary because the more eyes, the more secure, but provides trust between parties because a digital signature and validation ensure that every node and user behaves correctly because everyone is watching. This could become a worldwide data repository accessed by different actors. Transparency is guaranteed because this ledger is public, so you can see the information in every block and the history of this blockchain and its blocks and their transactions, previous transactions. Immutability, the data cannot be erased or changed. Decentralization, it can run without a central authority, and cannot be controlled. That's why governments are against blockchain. Automation with smart contracts, activities could be automatized. Smart contracts seems like something interesting because smart contracts are pieces of code that are embedded into the blocks that can trigger something, an action, with certain conditions. Let's say a young man or woman, child, can receive I don't know, heritage. How do you say herencia? Does someone know? Well, money from their parents, and you can this needs to be delivered. For example, if he finish the university, so in a smart contract you can establish that the money will not be delivered until the university is done, but it relies on external parties which will inject the information that it already happens, and these need to be as strong and as secure as the blockchain, which from my perspective is a weak node. But this is the thing. And let's say that about the disadvantages characterized by high power consumption. As I said in my previous presentation, the energy that transactions in cryptocurrencies are high. For a Bitcoin transaction, could cost $6. Mining requires expensive hardware, hundreds of thousands of dollars if you want to have a decent farm of mining hardware. The data replication requires space. Right now, 105 gigabytes for Bitcoin and 70 gigabytes for Bitcoin and Ethereum are stored on each network node. Let's say there are hundreds of nodes, so you can imagine the space that is placed there. Adding information is slow. Creating a Bitcoin block takes around 10 to 60 minutes. Ethereum requires 15 seconds. Yeah, but 15 seconds compared to 60 minutes, it's huge. It's a different, a way difference, but it depends on the cryptocurrency. Immutability and transparency could harm users' privacy and reputation because every network node will store a copy of the blockchain and could possibly its content. Yeah, this is a public content, so everyone knows about the transactions that have been made, and this broke with the user's privacy. And the smart contracts cannot rely on external APIs. Every node should be able to process previous transactions and the same result as the other nodes. That is, information must be immutable. Consequently, data required by a smart contract should be first injected into the blockchain. Oracles can enable this injection but require strong reputation system or governance mechanisms and need to be as robust as the blockchain itself. You need for this method or smart contracts to be useful and secure. You need to the injection mechanism need to be as secure as the blockchain, and that's I think that is the hard part. They are stored on the blockchain. Smart contracts cannot be modified. To remove code blocks, developers have to create new contracts and transfer all data pointers from the old to the new ones. So you cannot modify it. So you need to create another one, and the external mechanism needs to point to the new one, to the new block. The most relevant case of smart contract-based attack happened on Italy in June 2016, when about 60 million was stolen. You can imagine losing 6 million. It's huge. The conclusion is While blockchain can bring innovation in many sectors and that enthusiasm for this technology, it should not be considered as a magic bullet. Rather, its adoption should be carefully evaluated depending on the company's sector and business goals. So, in conclusion, the answer is it depends. So, thank you for listening.
Thank you, Paul, for the
Ah,
presentation.
I have one image to show. I
Sure.
almost I sorry, forgot it. Let's see, Gartner. Sorry. Gartner hype cycle. As you know, Gartner shows the hype cycle of most of the technologies or areas, but this one is specifically for blockchain in 2021. And there's always almost the same kind of path in every technology. The question is when these steps will happen. The innovation. If you remember last year, blockchain, whatever about Bitcoin and Ethereum were like a huge hype about them, and they will start rising their price because they will having like applications, implementations like these ones. But after that, there's a pick of inflated expectations and start the disillusionment. The problems with smart contracts and for example the problem that they have with stolen money, energy, huge amount of energy consumed. But as it will, but this will be like after the hype and the down of the technology of the hype. This will be like stabilizing itself, and maybe we will see this blockchain technology applied in some real world aspects in our lives. So I want to show you this hype cycle for blockchain. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thanks, Paul. So you said the conclusion is it depends, right?
Yeah, it's like it was like it depends. As almost everything in life. So.
Well, yes.
Okay.
So Christian, I don't know.
Yeah. Hi.
Actually, I have a question.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. My question is, you say the blockchain could be used on the government. Why do you think it's not used, actually used in the government right now?
What do you think?
I don't know. That question is for you. Not
Well,
for me.
I don't have the right answer because I don't have certainty in the facts, but
Yeah,
I can
what do you
imagine.
think?
I can imagine that the governments like to control the first responsibility of a governor is to maintain the control. So they will do everything in their power to control and keep controlling the power. So if you propose a mechanism that is secure and transparent and will expose all the bad transactions that they are performing, so
Do you think that it's only because of that? Because of fairness?
I think yes, because if you have a secure way and well, not entirely, because for example, if you tell the people that you are implementing a secure way, is technological, and well, engineers and cloud involved people will say that this is secure, but the other people that is not close to the technology will not be in the agreement that this is secure. So maybe we will not adopt it, but I think from the government perspective, they won't take it.
I think you are seeing this like a Mexican.
Yes,
No,
I agree.
But there are other countries where this could be implemented without that fairness.
I
Do you
was
think?
Yeah,
think?
for me it's more like technical resources and more and it's more related to technical stuff. In my case,
So
that's what I think. I don't think that is the fairness. I think it's
think
more
that-
like technical resources.
So if the technology is there, why any government
No,
has
the
already
technology
implemented?
is there, but resources is not just technology.
What
But-
other?
No?
I think that
this
it's
could
also
be. Sorry, Paul. Go ahead. Yeah, you were first.
that it's also because it's not like old technology. Like for example, sadly, it will sound weird, but like governments like to use like proven, already established, and things like that. Technologies, for example, the government is also one of our customers, but they are not using the latest information. They are using like 3 years old software system, and they just purchased it recently. You know, and that's one. And the second one, like when you are changing infrastructure, let's say like right now the Oxos, you know, they have some databases, they use super old GUIs platforms and things like that.
Yeah.
And why they are not migrating? Because it's really expensive to migrate all the information to the new technologies, right? To the new systems. They are using super old things. Also at Continental, actually, we were using a lot of times super old tools. I just remember.
The banks, the databases in the banks are
Yes,
very,
like
very old.
all those things, they like if you want to try to migrate to a new system, the migration costs like a lot, right? And it takes a lot of time. It has a lot of failures when implementing and things like that. And that's something that you cannot risk a lot, especially with public information, right?
And also the how do you say when that you need to verify that the information that you are migrating, that you started migrating is that the information that you already have at the end of the migration, right?
Yeah, there are like all those testings, and you have to do it by parts, right? You cannot migrate everything, and also you cannot change the workflows.
Yeah, and
Right.
at the end of the line, also that implies people that is using the system needs to know how to use it, right? So imagine that you are in a remote town and you're implementing blockchain. The person that is there needs to know how to use the blockchain.
Yes. Well,
That's training, right?
Yeah,
it's also training. As I mentioned, like changing the process. One thing that my father always told me is that if you are going to create software, try to do it with automate the current processes, and then start changing slowly the processes, because you cannot change everything from the beginning, right? It's more difficult to change the things. It's like when they update Windows, Microsoft Office, Word, I'm sorry, like, or Windows. You are getting used to one, Windows XP, let's say, and then they change to Vista or whatever. And people are like, oh, how can I do this, right? And it's exactly the same like with all these systems.
and there are other factors. I recently have been in a local elections for like the internal committee of a party, PAN, and they made it through like tablets. And there are like 100 of them because there are hundreds of people here in Guadalajara, and they vote through these tablets. And when the results come, when the results came, not everyone was convinced about the legitimacy. I don't know how to say it.
Reliability.
Reliability of the process. There are a lot of factors I know, but for me, the technology could solve some man problems in some processes.
Well, like hackers, they will always find a way to avoid
Yeah.
that.
That's for sure.
Like, for example, making fake accounts, like, for example, let's say, also for medicine. A lot of times doctors even create like a real type of prescriptions and things like that that are official, you know, and either way, like you're using an official process to do something that is not like official, right? Or that is not correct sometimes, right? So you always find, like, people find always the mean of doing everything. You are going to put something like a block, you know, and they are going to find like or leave a hole.
You can copy a prescription and you can go to the pharmacy. It's pretty easy. They only verify the
Thank you.
tax ID,
The
cedula,
the cedula,
and that's it. But okay, But I am not the discussion leader. Let's continue with the discussion leader.
Yeah, thank you for the answer.
Okay, so continue with same topic. This was similar to one of the prepared questions. So what would you need in this case to trust the government systems, or the one that you just mentioned from the election that you had, instead of going blindly just because it's using blockchain or they telling you that they're using it?
I did not understand that question.
Yeah, that instead of going blindly believing that they're using blockchain correctly, what would you need to know for trust the government, or in this case the convention that he mentioned, where they voted using these tablets?
As a
would be
Mexican, we never
complicated,
trust the
right?
government.
Yeah, maybe a real time counter, something like that. So you
Yeah,
can
I do think
then
that
your vote reflected instantly.
yeah, when people see that, like visually, that things get from one place to another, I mean that they go through their eyes, they believe that it is actually theirs, right? So probably it's not like really theirs, but if you press vote and you see that the cable lights up and you see that the light goes all the way from the computer into
But in that case, you maybe are broken the privacy. You know.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but it can be done by
yeah.
it can be done by an ID, right? You get the ID is in the database, and you are the only person that knows who is the owner of the ID. So
Yeah.
that's not a problem.
I think
If it
it
is-
doesn't matter much because I mean we are blindly believing that our current system works, right? So
Yes.
if they change to blockchain, I think it would be pretty much the same, just a different process. So I think, yeah, it would be the same for me, honestly.
On
I don't think it's
trusting-
going to be the same. In the current process, you see where you are putting your vote, and there are other people that is like analyzing the process. They are seeing the process, and it is supposed that there are people like us. And also there is this record at the end of the event where they put, and they need to sign that they are really trusting, and they are really verifying that everything was done in the right way. And always, if there is some mismatch, as you can see, there is always this chain that you can follow until you get what you got. And like Rodrigo said, it's different when you can see and you have like this physical way of proving what is happening.
Yeah,
In the other way, there are no physical way.
But in this case, we have the human factor, right? I think that's the most unreliable thing
Yeah.
than systems, right? So
Yeah.
even if the process sounds very nice and correct, yeah, we are humans and we are like running it. So yeah.
Yeah,
And also we need to see to believe.
but as a human, we trust in humans more in the machines, right?
Not the ones that know how this can be coded.
Yeah, I mean, but at the end, we still, whenever we want to validate whatever we make, we go to an expert, and the expert says yes, right? So the human at the end is the expert, the one that is giving like the final verdict. So yeah, I mean, at the end, we believe we will say, I mean, we will always keep humans around because in that way we have someone to blame. That's why we need humans at the end of the chains, because there is always someone accountable at the other end that can be sued or can pay for whatever ever happened.
What is 51%?
It's when basically you can control 51% of the network, then you can basically control the system. I mean, it's not so practical for big system, but it is doable actually. Now that is related to Fernanda question that
Okay.
or break this system.
Yeah, because everyone was talking about if the people believe or not or trust, but I said, well, I'm not gonna trust if is there a way to cheat or break the system. So it is, well, there is the answer. It is a way to break it, right?
Okay.
Theoretically possible, practically not so easy, really.
If you have the
But
right
it's
tools.
possible.
Yeah, because it says blockchain can be cheated. The only thing is you don't have enough energy for doing it right now. But it can be done. Yeah, it can be done. Do we have the technology right now? No, we don't.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's theoretically possible, practically, like any other, I don't know, like any other encryption mechanism that you're using. They are breakable, yes, they are. But can you break them? No, you can't. I mean, theoretically, yes, breakable, but practically no.
I do also think that there are not necessarily, there are tons of insecurities around actually getting into the chain, right? So basically, there was this case in Quadriga. I don't know if you have heard of it. Basically, they were like the largest cryptocurrency exchange platform in Canada. They have like the platform in which you could buy crypto.
Yeah, there's a Netflix doc about that.
Yeah, there is a Netflix documentary about that one. So basically, in their front end, they were sending some of them to buy crypto, but some other directly to an account. And the one that they were using to buy crypto, the guy that was getting the crypto was first getting into his account, then doing some trades, and then getting into some other people's accounts. So some of them could have like their wallets reflected. But since the wallet was also kept by them, there was no actual way to show or to demonstrate that you own that money because the wallet was also owned by Quadriga. So it was like owning money in a game, right? It's in their game. So I mean, and the problem was not really the blockchain; it was the system surrounding how to get into the blockchain. So yeah, there's
at the end, the main actor died supposedly, and all the money was gone.
Yeah, well, some people think that they die, and some people think that he's not. I mean, it's a mess.
Yeah, but this extends a little bit, so maybe we can continue.
Okay, so I'll move on to the next question. So apart from this monetary system or complex scenarios for bank accounts and government, do you have any other example that we could use in real life without being that complex and that could really bring some benefits?
Good question.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, apart from these complex scenarios for banks and government, if there are other real life scenarios where we could see the benefits from implementing this blockchain.
You mean like non-money related scenario?
Yeah.
Well, smart contracts can be used in a lot of things that needs a contract, actually. Like, for example, one of the most famous way where you can implement a smart contract is in real estate. In that way, you can see who is the real owner of some real estate, and you can follow the chain to see who are the previous owner. I wanted to do something related to that for my thesis, for researching papers, instead of, well, you know, when you are doing a research paper, you need to pay for getting information to the publishers, and at the end, you need to give for free the research to the publisher. So that
money, right? Publish your paper.
Yeah, and even if you want to share your paper with other people, you need to pay extra money to the publisher, right?
Correct.
So that thing can be fixed with a smart contract.
Smart contracts.
Yeah, but there are, well, when I was doing the research, I found out there are other things that needs to be done before publishing something for a publisher. Like a document needs the people that is reviewing the paper are anonymous people. Just the publisher knows who is there and they trust in that person. So yeah, it's possible, yeah, but it's there is some bureaucracy on doing this. And yeah, there are a lot of things where you can implement those smart contracts.
I just remember a case that is like also 4 or 5 years ago. There was a company that was actually adding blockchain to for the, how you say, when they prepare the food, and that they say like organic. For example, here in the
Yeah.
United States, like the organic stuff, it's like really, how you say, popular.
Yeah.
Especially like not only fresh products, also like already made. Like sometimes they do like, oh, okay, all this dish was made of organic stuff and things like that. So when you buy things from there, they have a QR code, some of them, and then you can track it, and you can track from which farm it was grown, and supposedly it's certified every step on the way and every element that it was organic. That, and you know, but and everything costs like a lot more, only because it has also that verification. But just saying that, because people sometimes were like, oh, okay, I don't know, it says organic, but how do I know that if it's real organic, you know? And either way, you can cheat the system, right? Because you can, in the first step, you can start cheating, right? That probably the original one was not organic, and somebody's like,
They already cheat.
yeah, there is. So,
Yeah, actually, one of the now that you're saying that, I don't know how to say this in English, but denominación de origen. This is something that is actually happening right now with the tequila. Some tequila, they have this QR where they can prove that this is real tequila and that is actually the bottle is not reused. So
that's why who signed for that? Somebody signed.
well, you know that there is an authority here in Jalisco that is Comisión Reguladora del Tequila, something like that.
It's government, right?
No, it's not government. It's an association made for tequila producers.
But if you open a bottle, I mean, if the QR is in the bottle, you open the bottle and you refill the bottle, you didn't change the QR.
No, there is a way for when you are buying the bottle, if you read the QR, you can see that the bottle was already bought for someone else.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but that's why I say, like, for example, also in the first step, right? The person that is certifying, what happened? How do you know that the person that is certifying that bottle was like super okay? You know?
Well,
but again,
there is a lot of like mistrust happening here.
And you can change the QR and just host a whatever website in whatever place and just give the people the name. And
Chinese we'll skip this.
Just saying that there is always it starts with some with humanity, right? Always, all the branches, right? All the leaves, actually, not the branches. The leaves start with some human related interaction, right? And that's like the part that you cannot control.
Yeah, but there is always this like a specific organism, like in this case for tequila.
Farmers and cheese.
And they are always, you can always use the official page of that one, right? That's the one that you need to trust.
Yeah, then you have to trust somewhere someone, right?
Yeah.
As Dr. House said, everyone lies.
Yeah, even in one chapter when the daughter is not the daughter of the girl. Do you remember that chapter? That supposedly they have all the trust, and he was super surprised until they discovered that they were not related.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's wrap this one. So because we have 2 more presentation. Thank you so much, Paul, and everyone else. So let's have a 7 minutes break. We come back 8:10.
Okay.
And we continue with the last 2 presentations.
Mari, I need to leave before 9, but I am the person that is going to take notes for Alejandra. in case it is not finished before leaving, can I do it in the video, right?
Sure, no worries. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
mean, I hope we finish by then because Alejandro is third and we have another one, so we should finish by then.
Okay,
Okay, so 8:10, we come back.
thank you.
Share your screen.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see. Go ahead.
Okay, today I am going to talk about cloud computing and a comparison based on service and performance between Amazon, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud. Okay, we already know what is cloud computing and all we need, what we need to do to make it possible. So cloud providers give us these resources through web, and you don't need to operate, purchasing, or maintaining physical computers, servers, or hardware, or virtual machines. And today I'm going to talk to you about the main cloud providers today that are Microsoft, as I already told you, Amazon, and Google Cloud. I am going to talk to you about their structure and a comparison, as I told you, between them. So the question is here, what kind of benefits these cloud providers are offering you? For example, if you have like a very small company, for example, the benefit of this is that you don't have to do like a big investment. Imagine that, I don't know, like you are having your startup and you don't know at the beginning like how many resources you are going to need, but at the pass of the years, you are going to need like more resources. And one of the benefits of the cloud providers is that you don't need at the beginning how many resources you are going to need, and you can scale vertically or horizontally. And another benefit of cloud providers is that, for example, Amazon have a lot of policies for security that helps you, like a user, to have a very good experience with this. Another thing is that you don't have to do like a lot of configurations. You can have like virtual machines or servers only with a few clicks, and you only pay for what you use. But what are the issues about this? There are a lot of studies to know about these cloud providers and how it works. And for example, there are studies too. I remember that another guy talked about the energy that computers are using it, and it is increasing through that time because we are using more of this technology. But there are not like a lot of studies today about the parameters to measure quality and performance of each of the cloud providers. So which is the foundation of cloud computing between these cloud providers? The first one is the front end. That is the side of the client, is the UI where the user have access. For example, well, in the three cloud providers that I already mentioned, you only have to create an account and you are going to have access to all these services. And the back end, that is the cloud itself, it's where you have the virtual machines, the resources, the hardware, the servers, and the security and all the stuff. So the three main types of cloud services that these cloud providers that you already know about, these three types of services, is the infrastructure as a service, that is the servers, hardware, and all the stuff. Platform as a service, that are the virtual machines. I don't know if you need a specific software or something like that. It's platform as a service. And software as a service are, for example, for Google, One is Gmail or YouTube. And here you will see an image of the structure of a service of cloud providers. If you see, it's the front end, is the UI that I already mentioned, where you have access to all these services and you only have to create an account. And in the back end are all the services that I already mentioned, like if you have the application, the storage, that is the memory that you are going to use, the kind of services that you are going to need, all the structure and the servers, is the infrastructure, and here is the management and security in the backend. And I am going to give you some examples of services of Amazon. These in the paper, they don't include these examples of services, but I just want to talk a little bit about this because I think that it's important. Actually, I know about these services more because I took the courses that Mari told us, and they were very interesting because I don't know if some of you do these courses, but it has like laboratories where you can set up all these services, and to be honest, is very easy. You just, as I told you, you only have to do some clicks and some configuration because Amazon have a very good user experience to use these services. And the first one is Amazon Relational Database Service. It's a service for your database, and it helps to simplify the configuration, functionality, and scale. And as I told you, you can scale all these databases horizontally and vertically if you want. You don't have to know at the beginning how many data you are going to have in these databases. And most of the, when you are using this kind of service is for web applications, for example, an e-commerce. For example, actually Amazon, of course, is using this on their e-commerce. And you can use it, for example, for mobile apps when you are, I don't know, like in a video game and you create an account on that video game and you have like maybe characters or something like that. It's very usual to use this kind of service. Another service is Amazon Simple Storage. It's for storage for objects. Actually, I did a configuration of this. You can, the benefit of this service is that you can replicate all these files, maybe images or a web page, or I don't know, any kind of file that you want. You can replicate this data in different locations. You can set up in which location you want this file, and you can control access. For example, if you want to, I don't know, like some of files just have access to some kind of people, you can set up this. And for example, this simple storage is for intensive lecture. If, for example, if you are going to modify files, it's not the best service for you. There is another service that it's called Amazon Elastic Block Store, that it's more for writing files. This is just for reading. Maybe you can save here videos because you know that that people it's not going to edit this kind of videos. And another is Amazon Lambda. This helps you to execute your code without managing any servers. You don't need any administration of the service. As I told you, you can scale to 1 million requests. And you can have this code in any high language that you want. And actually, Lambda have another function that if you want to use like a language that it's not very like popular, it helps you to, in this function, to use the code, the language that you want, anyone that you want. And a comparison between Amazon, Azure, and Google Cloud. well, Microsoft was launched in 2010. It is access to internet. You only have to have access to internet connection and access to the Azure portal. As I told you, you only have to create your account, and it has more than 100 services. The main language programs that are using in Azure is Java, Node, and C#. And it has more than 42 data centers around the world, and more than 500 organizations are using these cloud providers. And some examples is eBay, Samsung, and Help. Amazon Web Services, it is used most of the time to build sophisticated applications. It was launched in 2002. I think it is the first cloud provider that was launched. I'm not very sure. And it has more than 117 services. I already mentioned it just 3, but it has a lot of services. It has more than 1 million users today, and one of the users that use this cloud provider is Netflix, Adobe, and Coinbase. The other one is Google Cloud. It was launched in 2008, and it has more than 100 services. And as I told you, one of the software as a service that it has is YouTube and Gmail. And some of the users that are using this cloud provider is PayPal, Twitter, and Airbus. Okay, here is the first table of the comparison of the 3 cloud providers. If you see here, if we are talking about general purpose, the most cheaper is Amazon, and then is Google Cloud, and at the end is Azure. If we are talking about compute optimized, the more cheapest is Amazon, and then is Microsoft, and at the end is Google. If we are talking about memory, the first one is Amazon, then is Microsoft, and at the end Google. And if we are talking about accelerated computing, the more cheapest is Microsoft, and then Amazon, and then Google. If you see, if we are talking about pricing, the more cheapest is Amazon. In most of the cases, I think is Microsoft. I think Google is the most expensive. In the paper, they mentioned that they do a test in virtual machines using Ubuntu Linux to do the comparison between these cloud providers. And if we are talking about the system performance, talking about 1 million HTTP requests and having 100 competitive, the best one is Microsoft. And sorry, 1 second. Sorry, I don't know, but my roomie, I think, like played some music, so I am going to tell her that I am doing a presentation. Just 1 sec.
No worries. Actually, you're not hearing any noise, but. Okay, let's wait.
Yeah, but there are, for example, here that I am here in Starbucks. I mean,
Sorry.
maybe you could not hear it, but it's distracting you from doing whatever you want to do.
Okay, so yes, and I think that Microsoft is the one for the best performance, and then Google, and at the end Amazon. Of course, is the most. Microsoft is one of the most expensive, and Google, and at the end Amazon, as I told you. So but the other two cloud providers have better performance. And if we are talking about the RAM speed, that is scale, copy, add, I think that Microsoft and Amazon in this table are the best ones, and Google is the worst. And if we are talking about RAM speed floating benchmark, the best one is Amazon, and then is Microsoft, and at the end is Google. To be honest, there are not like a lot of tests in this paper. I think that maybe they can do more comparison in other things, but these are the comparison that they did. And my conclusion is that I think that it's not that one cloud provider is better than the other. I think that they are better in some things, and other cloud provider is better in other things. I think that it depends on your application or what is the needs of your enterprise. And I think that it will be your very choice. But I think that both of them, the three of them, are very good. And yes, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Alejandra, for the presentation. The paper was from which year? Can you remind us?
Yes, it's for, let me tell you.
I want to see the results, or how new the results are.
You're asking for the authors or for what?
In the paper, in which year it got published?
It's very recent. It's 2000, 1 second. I think 2020 or 21. Why?
Yeah, 2021. Okay. Okay, so
Yes, it's 21. Why?
okay, 2021. Yeah, I just wanted to see how recent are the results, or is something changed in the last couple of years, basically. So I think so. Any question from anyone?
Why do you think that OCI was not benchmarked?
I don't know.
Keep Oracle out of it.
He's million of years ahead. He's not worth the competition. Yeah.
Can you repeat? I couldn't hear.
No, he's much better. It's not worth taking it into competition. I mean, it will put the other three into rest.
You don't work at Oracle, right?
No, not at all.
Okay.
But actually, we have people working at Oracle here.
Yeah, we do. It would be nice to see if they do a performance comparison.
So I don't know, Manuel, you prepared any question or?
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Sure.
Yeah, I prepared some questions, and the first one is which is your favorite cloud provider and why you think is the best? In my case, my favorite one is GCP, and it's because I found that the different resources work just like amazing together, and it's really easy to configure like everything that you want to make. So I don't know if anyone want to share their opinion about it.
I've been using AWS for most of my life, so probably that's the main reason why I would keep around with it. I think that it depends a lot on where you work at, right? Because at least for me, whenever I want to do something, I first think on how I go do it in AWS before jumping and see like its comparison in GCP. And sometimes because of that, I end up like doing things not very efficient in GCP. Right?
Yeah, sadly, I don't like Amazon, but I also prefer the one from Amazon.
I mean, Azure's done a great job. It's improved a lot. It's way easier to do it now. Their lambdas are great. I think they are easier to manage, especially like the HTTP triggered ones are way better than AWS's at least. I have not used one from GCP for HTTP triggers. So yeah, I guess it does depend.
Okay. Well, and the next one, what do you think is like
sorry, Manuel, just wait.
Mhm.
So any other guy have any other has any idea when you're using, I mean, or if anyone else used, I don't know, 2 of them, and they can give us feedback about it. How do you feel about them?
I have only used GCP and AWS, and AWS is much easier, in my opinion, sadly. But I
Easier?
have never used Azure.
Why
I'm sorry?
sadly?
You
Why
mean
sadly?
easier to use, right?
Yeah, it's easier to use.
But
Yes.
why
Why that
sadly?
is sad?
Because I'm against Amazon, honestly. But,
Why?
but yes, because I don't like the company that much. Eh, but either way, like GCP, I like it. Like I like Google a lot, but sadly it's more difficult to do things there and are more confusing, the things there. And I have not used the ones from Microsoft, actually. I have never used the ones from Azure.
GCP's alternatives for like quick and dirty are great. Like the Firebase and Firestore and some of their lambdas and even Crashlytics are, I mean, at completely another level. I mean, I'm an AWS guys, like from all of my previous works, but whenever I want to do something on my own, and it has to be like quick and dirty, I always go with GCP and Firebase and stuff like that, because I mean, they are so easy to manage, and I have to do like 3 clicks and I'm good to go. So yeah, Azure, I don't know, not yet.
Actually, when they make comparisons, because the courses that I took for class, they also make comparisons about the other providers. You know, always that you take a course from one provider, they show you the other ones. I took also a small crash course from GCP, and GCP was created mainly from what Google had, and it's more technical in a lot of things. You know, it has been evolving since the Amazon created the console, and they have been trying to copy it. But the thing is that Amazon created the things from scratch, and Google tried only to isolate their systems and to offer the services to the public. So that's one of the reasons that a lot of the things are a little more tricky in GCP. But either way, like at the end, also like they create the console and things like that, and a lot of having like easy now. But I think that they came late to the game, and that's why it's more difficult to use right now.
I mean, we're still missing someone that tell us about Ali Cloud. So, because I mean, it's if you see like the graph comparison from what they do, it seems that they have tons of users, at least in China. So it's worth a shot, right? I don't know. Probably it's a secret that we don't know about.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that uses it.
No, or DigitalOcean. I mean, I know like 3 people that only host like traditional servers in DigitalOcean.
Yeah, me too. Sadly, I know more from DigitalOcean than than Microsoft. I don't know.
I have been using OCI. That's the only one that I have been using. Like in the industry, because I have taken some course from Amazon and from GCP, but at least in the part related to last scalability and those kind of stuff and the UI, they are similar. Most of them are similar.
Yeah, I have worked with OCI too, and also with AWS, but I prefer AWS by far. It's much more simpler to use, and I work for for Oracle. So that's something.
You use
They are spying on you.
after today. You used to work for Oracle.
Yeah. But,
I'll be in charge of.
Yeah, I will cut this part. No worries.
The thing is I don't know if you know, but one of the big heads of AWS was acquired by Oracle. So a lot of the stuff are just a copy of a ripoff from Amazon Web Services. So they really they are trying to emulate in OCI whatever thing is in AWS. So that's the reason that a lot of the stuff are just similar to AWS.
Okay, Manuel, you can continue with the questions if you have.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, maybe this one will be useful for those who don't have like a lot of experience with the cloud. So what do you think is the most common or the biggest mistake that beginners, cloud users make?
Not jumping to infrastructure as a code right away. I mean, this is kind of strange, but having all the infrastructure rely on manual configuration is very error prone. I mean, there is tons of way to like make things off or just to start breaking stuff. And if you start with infrastructure as a code since like 0.0 when you're starting, you have everything versioned, right? I mean, it is very easy to understand also all of the stuff you have, because if you have like this huge console, the only way to more or less know what you have is like the billing part. But other than that, there's no document that says, hey, you have like 3 servers up or whatever, or you decided to take these and those actions. So it's not only better for management, but also for us to understand what you're actually doing. Because if you go into the management console, while it does have like a nice GUI and you have only to press a button, I mean, at the end, it is always better to see it in 3 lines and understand what you're doing.
And anyone else? Any suggestion for newbies? What do you think yourself, Manuel? I think you have also a lot of experience.
I don't know. I feel like you need to obtain some certifications. You need to understand what you are doing instead of just trying to create something. Right now I am working with Liverpool and they had a lot of implementations and they are terrible because no one in the company knows the way. They don't really know about the resources that they are using and they just try to made it work, and it's awful. All the policies in the projects, the firewalls, the rules are I don't know. It's an awful projects, and it's really hard to work with them. So as I already told them, they need to took some certifications, or they need to, I don't know, at least some courses or something like that. So yeah, probably that's it. Or at least you can read like the documentation. They mention some tips on all of them. So yeah, I don't know. Courses and certifications.
In which platform do you use?
They use GCP.
Okay.
Yeah, the problem also is that probably it is, at least from what I've searched, it is not so easy to find like a overall cloud architecture certification. It is always GCP course or AWS course right? Or Azure course. But at the end, I mean, they are only places where you have the resources, not places where you learn like the patterns that you should use in the cloud, like wherever you need to use like event driven or whatever you can do synchronously or asynchronously, or if you need schedules, stuff like that. I mean, it's most of the times they do it by intuition or by copying other people that they think they know about, right?
I think like a newbie, there is always the big mistake is not asking questions. I think that's the biggest mistake sometimes, because for whatever reason, like for example, when sometimes you think that they are going to know that you are not at the level of they are expecting from you, so you try to not ask, and I think that's a big mistake, right? We always we can always make mistakes, so we are humans at the end of the time, but not asking, I think that's a big problem of communication, because well, at the end of the time we need to know how to work in group, in teams. And sometimes also like someone that is expert on a technology or on applications, one of the big mistakes is not offering help to the newbies. It's also another problem, but this is because not offering help, because sometimes they can see you like as an expertise, and you don't want to bother with dumb questions. So you need to be open to, well, you need to open that channel, right? Offering your help.
Okay, yeah. Is there any other question, or should we wrap this up?
No, I have another question, but yeah, at the end, I think that the principal problem is that the companies don't want to pay for the certifications. So yeah, it's pretty hard. Well, the last one, well, it's like the same, but how important do you consider a certification as requirements for some kind of jobs? It's nice to have, or it's necessary?
Actually, I was going to ask, like, I don't know how many companies require certifications. At least I have never applied to a job where I require that certification.
Most of the people that I know that do have like most of the certifications are working on the provider. So when you want to apply like for Google at GCP, okay, these certifications are required. But like outsiders, people exploiting platforms, I've never seen it as a requirement.
But it depends, because it is a vital job. You need to be certificated to ensure that at least you receive the training and not like skipping it. Yeah, as you mentioned, I usually I was told that certifications were like necessary to reach certain levels in the professional way, but in my experience, they are not. But they are most like a nice to have until now, for me at least.
And actually, in the interview, there are people that they don't have like these certifications, but they in an interview they can show that they really know about what they are doing, because they are more like this kind of person that they are like how do you say, they are good out of learning, right? They don't need to like follow this course for knowing. I mean, it's nice to have someone that knows the way in another, the process in another way, but sometimes there are people that know without following like this step-by-step process.
Yeah, that is true. And also the thing about certifications is that some of them are really hard on specifics of a platform, right? I remember like some questions that were like, how many requests does whatever gateway happens to support before being throttled? I mean, and the answers are like 10,000, 10,000, or 10,002, and I'm like, I don't know. Yeah.
I also have an experience with certifications. I did a certification for Docker, and I was expecting like be focused on Docker itself, like creating images, working with Docker files, daemons, and all the kind of stuff. But actually, the certification was focused on Docker Swarm, and I didn't want to learn Docker Swarm because I wanted to learn Kubernetes. So it was a big disappointment for me, the certifications. And no, it was not like something that I really wanted to do. So when the certification period ends, I didn't want to renew the certification because I think it was something that it was not really worth it.
Okay, I mean, let's wrap this one up so we can reach the last presentation. Thank you so much, Alejandro, and everyone else for participating in the discussion. So the last but not least is Juan Carlos Diaz.
Yes.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. The paper I selected is Career in Cloud Computing and Exploratory Analysis of In-Demand Competency Areas and Skill Sets. Okay, I chose this paper because I was interested in exploring all the new jobs that have been surging because of the cloud boom and the skills that are required for those works. Okay, this paper is very recent. It was published in September, and it has 15 pages, and it was written by these persons here that I can pronounce. So let me move to the next slide. Okay, as we know, cloud computing enables on-demand access to computing resources through the internet, through the cloud. And the main benefits of cloud computing are the collaboration, the flexibility, the reduction on costs, that it accelerates the development of applications and the consistency. Next slide. The adoption of cloud computing technologies has been increasing rapidly in the recent years. And two factors that contribute to that increment are the actual pandemic and also the resulting economic recession due to the pandemic. These two situations have accelerated the transition of many companies, institutions, and probably also governments to cloud computing, mainly because cloud services and applications provide the flexibility and scalability that can help them to manage this crisis more effectively. To satisfy all the new clients that have been moving to the cloud, the demand for skilled workforce in cloud computing is also growing very, very fast. And now cloud computing is considered the next generation of computing. And today the cloud computing job market offers significant employment and career opportunities for IT professionals like us. The analysis of job positions is important to identify the skills demanded for the workers and the current trends in the cloud computing industry. And one of the best sources of information on that regard are the online employment platforms like LinkedIn, for example. So the goal of this paper is to identify the knowledge domain, skills and competencies demanded by the cloud computing industry for jobs. The paper methodology. So for this paper, the authors performed a semantic content analysis on cloud computing related job positions from an online employment platform that it is not specified in the paper which platform they use. But they used text mining procedures and probabilistic topic modeling approach based on latent Dirichlet allocation, and that is a natural language processing technique. And the results. Okay, the analysis performed revealed 22 main competency areas and 46 trending topics or skills that, per the authors, are essential for a job in cloud computing. Okay, the competency areas obtained from the analysis were these ones: engineering, development, security, architecture, data, solution, infrastructure, DevOps, services, sales, analytics, administration, support, consultancy, operations, marketing, system, finance, platform, network, and automation. And these are the top 6 most demanded competencies areas for cloud computing. In first place, we have engineering here with 16%. And then we have development, security, architecture, management, and data. And these are the related job titles for each area. So for example, for engineering, we have cloud engineer, AWS cloud engineer, Azure cloud engineer, Google cloud engineer, and principal cloud engineer. So this is the most demanded area, engineering in cloud computing, per the paper. Then here we have a chart, so that is easier to visualize the data. As we can see, engineering and development are by far the most demanded areas today in the cloud computing industry. Then in this next chart, we have the top 5 cloud computing related jobs per the analysis performed by the authors of the paper. In first place, here we have cloud engineer with more than 50% of occurrences in the analyzed job offerings. Then we have cloud architect here, then cloud security engineer, then AWS cloud engineer. That is the only specific service provider job in this top. And I think that makes sense since AWS is the most popular cloud computing provider. And finally, we have cloud software engineer here. Okay, then we are going to move to the top 10 desired skills for cloud computing related jobs. Okay, in place 10, we have problem solvings. And these are the top 15 descriptive keywords with the highest frequency identified for this skill. And this is the ranking from 1 to 10 of the skill for each top area identified. So for example, problem solving here is the 5th place of the skills mentioned in the development area. So this is like the top 10 of this skill from these areas. And for example, it doesn't have any value because it is not in the top 10 of engineering, according to the paper. In place 9, we have strategy development. Again, the keywords and the ranking. As we can see, this is in the second place in the area of architecture. Then we have project management, and is obviously in the second place of management. Then we have bachelor's degree, production management, and this one is in is like the skill with most occurrences in the area of management. We have then service support, architectural solutions, which is the skill with most occurrences in architecture. We have software development, DevOps tools in second place, and in first place we have communication skills. That is in the top 10 of all the top areas identified. And then we have, this is the top 5 skills identified in the paper for the top 6 competency areas. So for example, for engineering, the most desired skill is DevOps, followed by service support. Then we have bachelor degree, communication skills, and software development. In the area of development, the most desired skills for a job, the most desired one is software development, followed by bachelor degree, communication skills, DevOps tools, and then problem solving. For security, the first one is cybersecurity, then again, communication skills, architectural solutions, strategy development, and DevOps. For architecture, the first one is architectural solutions, then strategy development, then DevOps tools, then communication skills again, and finally, public services. For management, the first one is production management, then we have project management, then sales solutions, then communication skills, and finally, Google Cloud. For data, the first one is big data analytics, sorry. Then we have Oracle ERP, then client solutions, architectural solutions, and communication skills. And that's it from my side. Any question?
Okay, thank you, Juan. Can you go to your methodology?
Sorry?
Can you go to explain the methodology again?
Here it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so they basically pick like a set of job postings from an online employment platform, and that is not specified, and they use like natural language processing techniques to obtain the areas and the skills with most occurrences in those offerings.
But to which pages, like, or which regions did they made the web crawling, like, text? Because, like, for example, which type of positions, which web pages, like, are more from the United States, from Europe, from Mexico, from?
Yeah, no, I don't know. They doesn't specify that. in the paper.
I don't know if it's worldwide, right?
Yeah, probably, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, the methodology seems a bit not well defined. I don't know, you're just summarizing it, or that's all they say about methodology?
No, they don't explain a lot. Actually, it's a small paper. But yeah, they doesn't.
So for example,
dig deeper in the.
would you rely on these results? For example, go to the last slide when you were showing the chart, the figures. No, you just, yeah, this one. So for example, imagine you're interested in data, would you, or let's say development, would you really rely on these results? For example, it's okay, the first thing you need to be good at is software development, then you need to have a bachelor degree, and you need to work on your communication skills. I mean,
no, but it's like a general idea. No, I mean, you can rely 100% on this, but it's just like a big picture overview.
Yeah, for engineering, they ask everything, right? Because look, everything 78 modest.
There's high expectation, right? And yeah, the data Oracle ERP is the second point. Who was pulling Oracle for that? Okay. So what do you think, Juan? Is like, what is the what do we learn from this paper?
I don't know. Actually, I was interested in doing some research if there's any skill needed, especially for developing for the cloud that is not needed for like traditional software development. Yeah, and that's why I chose this paper.
I mean, yeah, I assume it would be. I mean, this study is interesting, but I don't know. Just the way they did it is. I mean, but yeah, I mean, if you really get all the job announcement and analyze it, I assume you would. Yeah, I want to say you would learn a lot, but then I thought probably they follow the same format, but then the interview process is the one that actually is the most important one, right? What they are looking for each of this job title for this competency areas. Those people that they are really hiring as an architecture or engineers or data engineers, what they are looking for. So probably like, I don't know, like interviewing, I don't know, 10, 20, 50 people that they do hire in big companies would be way better, basically. It would generate way better, basically, results. What the
yes, because they actually just like reviewed a set of job offerings looking for keywords, and
yeah, mostly
they
follow the same format. They just throw keywords there in there. Okay, I don't know if anyone has questions or critics or suggestion for doing this, but in a better way. No questions. Okay. Okay. So yeah, there is no question apparently. Okay. Thank you, Juan. We just concluded actually today class. So next, I mean, for those who haven't uploaded their presentation, please do so. And next week we're going to have the last class, I think. So, but the same thing. You're going to have a class for presentation, and we conclude the course and talk about other things, the details of grading the remaining activities. Any question? So if all good, so see you guys next week. Have a good night.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
I just remembered something.
Sure.
From the, what's the name? For the papers, the last summaries, do we, can we make the summaries of the papers from the other people or from the ones that were from the beginning? Like, for example, because everybody selected the papers, but I don't know if we have to make from those ones the last summaries, or if it's also like from the first ones that you showed, like the summaries.
The idea was actually from this basically part of the semester. But if you it's okay if you find some other paper more interesting and you rather read them or you already read them, it's okay. You can submit from those.
Okay. Yeah, because I was not sure. For example, I read my 3 papers, but then I was like, I don't know if I should do it from those ones or from the previous sessions. Like, but when you selected all the papers, because those I didn't make the summary from some of them, so I only
any. So we can make it easy. So any. So maybe you find some other more interesting, or you already read them. You have better ideas. So it's okay. Doesn't matter. Okay, then see you guys next week. Have a good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.